most people never do, or they really want to do. You built something. You hit the goals. You made it happen. Usually, maybe, probably it was through sheer will, so much sacrifice, and tons of focus. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, a quiet voice started to show up. Hey, that quiet voice. And that quiet voice, for a lot of people, it hits on Sunday nights. Could also be like in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. or in a meeting somewhere where everything's going like pretty right, and you're sitting there thinking, is this it? Is this all there is? I'm going to tell you, and welcome, Thomas, if that voice is familiar, whether you're on here now or later, you're in the exact right place today and right now. And if you're newer in the journey, some of you that are on here with me and, on here now are newer in their journey, and that voice hasn't shown up yet, stay with me, because we're going to be talking about something today that will save you years and years of drama and trauma. So welcome. You're here, Thomas. I'm glad you're here. Anybody else that shows up, my name is Paula Bohland, and we're going to have a conversation today that a lot of people never, ever, ever have. We've been doing that for the last, week or so, but, we're gonna really dive deep into that conversation. So as you guys know, whether you're here now or coming on later, I spent years and years in real estate and also in high-end business coaching. I worked with successful people, people that were CEOs of companies that were building something, doctors, lawyers, like I said, a lot of CEOs, and in real estate and in business coaching, helping them grow and helping them scale their business. And they hit a lot of goals. They hit a lot of stuff going on, right? But I kept seeing the same pattern. Hey, Joanna. Hey. Thanks for saying hi. I kept seeing the same pattern. People would hit the goal. They would close the deal, they would get the money, they would build the portfolio, they would seal the real estate, close the deal up, put the $50,000 in their pocket, $100,000 in their pocket, whatever it was. They'd sell the company, and then they'd get really quiet. They weren't publicly quiet. It was just because on the surface, everything looked great, like all of society was rewarding them. They made the money, they looked so good, they had the car, they had all the things. And publicly, everything looked great. But in real conversations, I was having with them as their coach, the real honest ones, when they'd be honest with me and themselves, there was always this version of the same question that kept coming up, and I kept hearing it underneath everything. And that question was, what is this all actually for? Why am why am I working so hard? What am I doing, right? Yep, I'm in real estate. Yep, I've done a lot of work. And I've coached CEOs. Yep, I've done a lot of work. So I'm speaking on what I've seen, and if you aren't watching this now from that perspective, it's going to save you time later on when you get here. So and the truth of the matter is it wasn't just people that I was coaching or people that were was helping them do the real estate deal or get the portfolio or something like that. It was also me. I remember being in my car one day, like I worked on this project for months and months and months, like the one that you visualize and you're like, praying like, dear God, let me get this going and let me do this thing. And, it's going to be so great. It's going to be great for the community, all the things, and it felt really good. And then I got it going and it got signed on. And I remember going in my car and having a moment of gratitude and then kind of sinking a bit and being like, well, what's next? What is this all supposed to be? So that I just kind of in the last, few years have had that more and more and more. And I've been around people that I'm coaching that have that more and more and more. And this process has sat with me for the longest time. And I realized, there's something that I was trained to do a long time ago that I used with corporations, with people. I even used it with people who had severe disabilities to help them find the life they want, to help them get the exact life they want. And I used it for a long time, and then I never built anything around it. I never went forward with it from a long time ago. And you know what? I've been thinking about that process, and it's like, why didn't I do that? Well, one, at the time I didn't know how to market it right. I mean, people would grab it if they came and they felt better about their life and they really loved it. People would, I just didn't know. I didn't have, like we talked earlier this week about having the container to present something, to be able to present something. And I think for years and years and years, even though I'm really good at that process and really help people figure out their life, I just didn't know what to do with it. And you know what? I think now I'm ready. I'm ready to bring it. And something shifted in me. Something has shifted. That's why I'm here with you guys. That's why I'm here a lot on these lives. And I want to be with you in conversation. And today is the day that's the beginning of this. Today is the day where we start, all of us in this group, in this community, really looking at what we want. What is this all about? Some people call it the purpose, God's calling, all of that stuff. And so one of my favorite exercises to do with this, and it seems so simple, is that, and I'm gonna do it with you right now. So go ahead and get a piece of paper. Go ahead and grab a pen, piece of paper, or open your note apps, whatever you're gonna do. And I'm gonna do this one process with you right now. We're gonna all do it together. And I want you to you could close your eyes if you can, do it that way. And I'm just gonna ask you one question, okay? Just one question. We don't swear in the chat. Oh, yeah. Thanks for not swearing in the chat. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. We can figure out other words, right? Use other words. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about, even though it's Sunday, and even though you might have that feeling like, oh, tomorrow I go back to work, all that stuff. I want you to think about Tuesday morning. That's kind of a weird question, but Tuesday morning. And I want you to think about your Tuesday morning, not on vacation, not a weekend, not a fantasy like you're on a yacht somewhere, or you're, whatever. But I want you to be thinking about an ordinary Tuesday morning. But here's the thing, and you might enjoy this. It's Tuesday morning of the life you want to be living. Let me say that again. Ordinary Tuesday morning, but it's in the life you want to be living. So if you're somewhere safe right now, I said a minute ago, just go ahead and close your eyes. I'd like you to go ahead truly and close your eyes and think about the ordinary Tuesday morning in the life you want to be living. So think about it. Think about it for a minute. I'm gonna be quiet for a minute because this is a very important exercise. I want you to think about what time is it when you're waking up? Are you getting up before the dawn, the first light? What's your room look like? Who's there with you? Is your special person laying beside you? What's the first thing you do? Do you pray? Do you take a drink of water? All of those things. What does your body feel like? What does your body look like? Certainly, I can't imagine that you're gonna be thinking about dragging and no energy or dreading. Just what does it feel like to be living that life that's actually yours, that you want? And then think about, and what are you looking forward to for the day? Where are you gonna go? Who are you talking to? What are you building or creating or contributing to? And I just want you to sit in it. And I'm literally going to sit here and be quiet while you do this exercise. This exercise truly changes lives. I've done this with organizations. I've done this with high-end CEOs. I've done this with, people. I've done this with couples. And it is so amazing if you really, really will do it. So I'm just going to be quiet for just 60 seconds and just really do this. Tuesday morning, ordinary day in the life you want to be living. How does it feel? What are you doing? Who are you with? What time of day is it? What does your room look like? All the things. I'm just going to stay quiet for just a minute. Keep your eyes closed. Keep thinking like it's a regular Tuesday morning in your ordinary life of the world you want to be living in. What I want you to do now is I want you to go ahead and drop one word in the chat. Just one word of an image that showed up for you. Just one word. One word. What's one image when you did this exercise that showed up for you? Just drop it in the chat. For me, when I do this, it's usually exciting, and it's usually, and the thing about it is if you talk about like manifestations and, oh, there we go. Thomas says prosperous. Oh my gosh. That's a beautiful word. And you know what, Thomas? It is not a random word. That is a compass point for you. So that's your life calling you. Remember, we talked about last week, if you were on the chat we had about you wouldn't be thinking about that, you wouldn't be dreaming about that if God didn't have it for you already, if it wasn't ready for you already. So that prosperity is a compass point, and it's calling you out. It's calling to you to get your attention. So this exercise is, and if you're just tuning in now and you didn't hear this exercise, go back to probably the 10-minute mark. And because this exercise is so important, and it is absolutely the beginning of a process that takes you from an actual vision to a concrete first step of being able to live it. And those of us that, anybody done anything or thought anything or talked anything about manifestation and that kind of thing, one of the things that's really important in being able to, a lot of people try to manifest, or they talk about manifesting, and then they say that it doesn't work, that, they wanted to put the energy into it. They want to create more money. They want to have, their special person, all the things, and it doesn't, that I hear all the time, it doesn't work. One of the reasons that it doesn't work is because your identity has to change to be able to live like the person who receives what you want. And so a lot of times we wait for it to come before we think about changing our identity. And this exercise is, and I used to get confused by that. I would hear that and I'd think to myself, well, what would my identity be like? I don't know. If I had the identity, I'd be living it, right? But this exercise is a great one to help you just automatically, because it's normal. People that have like $10 million or $1 million or whatever you want to say, they have their, their dream life, their beautiful home, all the things. They don't sit around every day and go, they do have gratitude, like, I'm glad I have this. I know I created this, but it becomes normal for them. It becomes their normal life, right? And so normalizing what you want is really important. And that way of looking at a regular old Tuesday, doing what you want. I had a great client one time that I was asking this to, and him and his wife were hiring me to help them grow their a real estate portfolio. And They wanted to, initially were talking to me about, I always talk to people about, why do you want to do this? Because if you don't know why, it's not as fun. It could just be like something you just do because you think you're supposed to, right? And so I asked him that, and we did the Tuesday morning exercise, because I do that as part of my figuring out what we're going to build in our real estate portfolios and why we're going to do it. And one of the things he said is, I do whatever I want. It's a Tuesday morning, and I wake up and I have nothing planned. I just do whatever I want. And that to me is phenomenal. And he said, and I have a house in Kauai, in Hawaii. And that changed everything we were doing in our conversations. That changed every bit of why we were creating this real estate portfolio. It was so that they could go retire early, him and his wife, and be living on Kauai and get up on regular old Tuesday morning and do whatever the freak they wanted to, whatever the heck they wanted to. And that awareness for him and that definition for freedom had just opened up his whole desires and where he was going and how it was going. And he just keeps that in his mind. And it's so weird, because about 2 days after that, I was walking, I live near the beach on Oak Island, North Carolina, and I was walking down to the beach. I live a couple blocks away, and I like to walk down at sunset. And they have these little, probably you guys have seen this, where they have those little boxes where people put stuff in to read and, those kind of things. And I thought, well, let me just see if I can get like a little, beach read or something like that to read over the weekend. It was a weekend I was doing this. I opened the door, and literally what fell out to me was an entire book about Kauai, Hawaii. I mean, it was so weird. What would that be doing there? And so I mailed it to him. It was very cool. Of course you can go. Of course you can go. We're here live, and you show up when you can and how you can. I'm so glad to be here with you. And let's see, not the life I'm living right now. I'm not living a bad life, but but it's the life I definitely want to be living. It's the Tuesday morning exercise. So if you coming on now and you did not do this exercise, go rewind, back to 10 minutes in and go do this, okay? And here's the thing. Nobody talks about this stuff, that especially high achievers. Is there any high achiever on here, you may not say it out loud, but you're really that A-type personality. You're always trying to figure out how to get your goals, and that you're going to have it, and then you're you're very goal driven and those kind of things. The very traits that gave you that make you successful that way, in terms of the external world looking at you and your success, the drive, the focus, the ability. You have great abilities if you're doing this and you're getting successful to lock in and get a goal and execute and figure out what you need to do, right? They are the same traits, that make you work harder than almost anybody else, but they're connected to external targets, right? We talked about, the internal target versus the external target. Somebody gives you a number, somebody gives you a milestone, the finish line, and you are the one who hits it. But nobody, I bet, has given you the internal target. This doesn't get talked about. We talk so much about somebody having the Ferrari, the Maserati, and I'm not saying those are bad, but we talk and we look at how people are dressed, how they, their big house and all the things, the external goals. And do you have enough saved for retirement? And how much money a year are you making? How many vacations can you go on? But nobody is really talking about those internal targets. Nobody sat you down, certainly not me, didn't set me down at 25 years old and said, Paula, before you build anything, before you go out there and you got all these goals you're working on and all this flash you want to have, and I have had the flash. By the time I was 35, I had a lot of flash. Before you build anything, Get clear on the type of life you actually want to be living at 50. That's a big question. I don't know, honestly, if I would have been able to answer that exactly when I was 25 years old, but there's a wisdom to it. It's like, do I want to every day be in corporate America? I remember being in corporate America. I remember I was once the only woman who worked with an economic development department, and literally on Sunday nights, I would crash. I mean, I had a great weekend, great life. I made great money, probably the most money I've ever made on a salary in my life. But on Sunday nights, there was just this feeling inside of me. I don't know if anybody else has Sunday night blues. And I would think to myself, how can I quit? How can I do something else? And then I would also feel guilty because I made a good salary. You know, the people that I worked with weren't terrible people. It just wasn't what I wanted to be doing. It was going to work 5 days a week, but not creating the life I wanted to create. I didn't spiritually feel fulfilled. I didn't feel like I had great community and community spirit, which is really important to me, building community, good purpose. And so what happened is I went forward and I built all those external markers. And many of you can understand what I'm saying right now. You can understand what I'm saying, those external markers. What are some external markers? You know, the money, which, you know, none of this I'm saying is bad. It's okay to have money. It's okay to have good incomes. That's what I want you to have. God wants you to have. But I had the money, the car, you know, the house, the couple of houses, those kind of things. But then you hit them. Then the thing is, you hit those targets. And then all of a sudden, you're standing at a finish line, and you didn't even define the finish line. It never was actually yours. It was just something the world defined. And then you're feeling like, I don't think this feels so great. And here's one that I really want to think about, because we've talked about already, the Sunday evening things. Sunday evenings in this kind of a world can be really hard, because your weekend's been going good. Like I said, life is just fine and nothing's wrong, right? Like your weekend's been good. And then somewhere about 5 or 6, which is why I'm on right now, a certain heaviness, like a low, shows up, kind of a mild depression. And it's a dread, right? It's a dread that tomorrow morning on Monday, that alarm's going to go off and you're going to go back to something like we've talked about just a minute ago. And that something, somebody else's employer, somebody else's thing, isn't yours. And it could be the corporate job that you're really good at, but you don't love. Or maybe sometimes some of us, me included, built jobs, or maybe you're the CEO of a company, or you started a company and it's become a prison. We talked about that on Friday. Like, you know, you don't have the ability to get away. You know, it's without you, it doesn't function. And it felt really good at the time, and you were making okay money at the time, but now it literally is the handcuffs, the golden handcuffs, is you're making enough money, but you can't get away. And on Sunday night, that's the time when a lot of people are feeling it. They don't know how to say it out loud. And then there's that guilt that comes along with it, right? Because you're like, yeah, I should have gratitude for this, should have gratitude for it. And, but I still feel icky. It's not, and then all of a sudden you can start getting down because you feel like you failed. You know I have felt like I failed. Well, it's not failure, and it's not a midnight or midlife crisis. What it is, just pat yourself on the back, because like I said before, awareness is the panacea. Awareness is the thing that heals everything. And you, by having this sinking feeling on Sunday night, are actually now in front of an opportunity to wake up to a deeper question. The deeper question. And that is a question about who are you and what life do you want to be living and how do you get there? It's not about, those affirmations and those motivational quotes or hurry up, go get a vision board and look and stare at your vision board. This is the opportunity when this kind of low on Sunday evening dragging at you, when you're feeling like it's poking at you for a reason. God is poking at you with this feeling for a reason. And there's a structured process that you can take that'll help you get there, okay? So this process that I've done for years and years and years, I did it with corporations, I did it with people, I even did it in the world of developmental disabilities, helping people figure out what they wanted for their life and how they wanted their life to be when they didn't have the words for it, and then taught the community how to come together around them. I want to do it right now, if you know anybody, in sober living houses and rehab centers, as people are like leaving there, because it's so important to have this idea of your life has changed now that you've gotten clean, but have you talked about what it is you really want and how to structure it and all that stuff? And so this process is called the path, finding the life path. And it starts, this process starts exactly where we started today. And it's about defining your North Star. You remember, the North Star is that feeling and that knowledge and that excitement and that vision of your life that you just can't turn away from. Like, the wise men coming to bring gifts to the baby Jesus and in the manger and all the things. I submit to you, they were following that star and could not turn away, even if they wanted to. So this is your star like that. Like, where is the Savior in that for you, calling you to your life purpose? And it's like that Tuesday morning vision that I just gave you an example of, but it's a bit deeper. It's about, what do you dream about? What do you value? What are your values? For me, somebody put in your values. For me, my values are absolutely family. Absolutely family. Absolutely trusting yourself too. I have a real value of personal development too, if you can't tell. So what are your dreams? What are your values? How do you want to live? Where do you want to live? Are you a morning person? Are you a night person? Where, do you want to live where it's cold all the time? Do you want to live, and who do you want to be in your life? Many of us have kids or want a husband. Some of us want a boyfriend, those kind of things, and just dreaming about, well, what would that be like? I'll tell you, one of my dreams is I want to have another house that's on the water. My house at the beach is not on the water. I have to walk to the beach, which is just fine. But I want to be able to sit on my screened-in porch so the bugs don't bug me in the morning when I get up, and be outside. I love to hear the birds, and I love to, I just feel so close to God. And everything in nature is waking up and celebrating being alive at dawn, right? So I want to be able to go out on my screened-in porch and celebrate that, and see birds and see water and see all of the life and nature. And I also want to have my special person that brings me coffee, because coffee is maybe I'd call it a value. It's certainly an addiction of mine that I probably need to look at. Not even probably, I need to look at it, but it's but having somebody to share that special stuff, share dinner with, share coffee with, share the sunrise and the birds waking up and all of that stuff. That is how I want to live. And then as the day goes by, I want to be able to get into the day and I, do some write on my books and do some speaking, and I want to invest in real estate. And one of the things for me that's a value In real estate investing, more and more evident to me is to have community, building community. Like one thing I'm looking at right now is working together with a group of people to build a senior community. And I'm not talking like assisted living house. I'm talking about like small homes, tiny houses in a circle with a fire pit, walking trails, places where people that are older can be community. Because, you know, my mom is 94 years old right now, and the number one health issue that she has is loneliness. Amen. She is so freaking lonely, and having other people around her that, you know, are her friends that she could see and, you know, walk around and those kind of things is so, so important. It's important to all of us. So yeah, thank you for saying hi. So in your path, that's the first part. It's establishing your North Star. What draws you? What excites you? What in your life? Somebody write something about that. For most people, there's something about money, but there's also a reason why you want the money. Like you want to give to, you know, you want to help your family, or you want to make sure that they've always got money when you pass on, and you want to build your house, all that kind of stuff. After that, it gets really honest. This path process has to get really honest. And what I do is I help you look at where you want to be, all those values, all that excitement, all that dream, and I take it out of your vision board kind of idea and put it into, okay, so you want all this, you want to live like this, you want to have all this. What's happening in your life right now? And we look at everything that's going on in your life right now and then compare it to where you want to be. So, you know, like say right now, you want to be a multi-billionaire, right? You want to be Elon Musk, who's got trillions now. And, you know, so you've got that in your path. I'm giving this an example. Have that in your path, and you want to go into outer space and all this stuff. And then what the next question is so we've got all this, your North Star. Now that we have your North Star, let's go to the end of the paper and let's talk about where you are right now. In comparison to wanting, and I'm giving this as an example, like say, you know, I was doing this with, well, that's not a good example because he already has it, but let's say you said, I want to be like Elon Musk and have trillions. Where are you right now financially? And the answer would be, I've got $25 in my bank account. Okay, so there's a little bit of a distance between where you are, right, in this path, this path process that I do, and where you want to be. And so then from there we go by idea by idea. I want 4 kids. How many kids you got now? None. I want a husband. Are you married right now? Yes, but I'm unhappy. So then we got to talk about, you know, all that. So we walk through all of where you are now compared to where you want to be, and we get real with it. And not because we want to, you know, feel like we can't get there. It's the opposite. If we know where we are, then that's the way we can build a bridge to where we want to be. And then the rest of that process, it's just joyous. It fills in the story. And it goes from what is so often people's dream and fantasy and, feeling frustrated because they really have this laid upon them that they want this. But it goes from that to actually laying out literally the path on how you'd get there. You know, we all know that God is in charge. And so God's going to give us surprises, and God's going to do stuff along this path that, you know, we think this is how it can work, but we also know that God's part of this. But it's a real sequence that connects where you are right now to where you want to be. And then it ends with one thing that's so important. It goes all the way through this process and then stops at you defining what your very first step is to take, the concrete first step to get going on your path. And I can tell you, I've watched this process change people, change their lives. I had one person that I did a path with. She had always wanted a child, like literally, it's like can almost be magic. And she was literally crying during this path process because she had been through like so many adoption attempts and those kind of things. And her North Star was to have a baby in her arms and to have a baby that she could, care for and all those kind of things. And where she was is, the failed adoptions, all the things. And, but we were doing a 4-day process through this, and I was leading a whole group of people through this. Do you know what happened on the 4th day? She received a phone call and she picked up a baby that she was adopting at the end of that 4th day. I've just seen amazing things happen. I saw a CEO that I was working with who had never taken a vacation and was working 50, 60 hours a week. Yeah, more than that, 70, 140 hours a week. He was just working way too much. Hadn't seen his children in years. Go from dreaming about, traveling Europe and taking his kids for a month vacation in Europe and writing books and all that thing, and then coming back and saying, I haven't done any of this, and then planning the steps to get there, and 6 weeks later took his entire family on a vacation through Europe and hasn't stopped since. I think to date, the guy has now written 8 books. He's a known public speaker. He speaks at conventions, all that kind of stuff, and his business just continues to grow and grow. So I've seen this change so many lives and so much, and I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to bring this out and to really help people take their dreams and make it happen. And it gets you clarity from where you are and where you want to go, and that's why it's called it a path, and you can just start walking on it. So that's where I am right now, and I'm putting together, I've decided that I'm going to put together a small, intimate, in-person weekend experience. And it's going to be a small group of people that want to go all the way through this process together with me. We're going to be focused. We're going to be intentional. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. And then we're also going to be in a setting that we relax in and can also help us enjoy this question and this quest, if you will. And it's not going to be a seminar. It's not going to be a conference. It's just going to be a small room, a group of people together. I'll ask the questions and help you through this process. And you can tell I don't have every detail locked in. I don't exactly know the whole process of how it's going to go. But if you've listened to some of this or all of this, or you pick this up later and listen to this and it resonated, and if that Tuesday morning question, and if you didn't hear it before, you can go back and it's at about the 10-minute mark, if it woke something up in you, and if you're on here tonight because you're hitting that Sunday low, or you have in the past hit that Sunday low, and that feeling's familiar, I'd love for you, there's a link in the description that you can click on, and you can get signed up to start getting information about this. It's not spam, it's not a sales funnel. It's just going to be a conversation when the time is right, so I have your information. And if you're not ready for it, cool. I would love it if you'd go ahead and subscribe and just stay in the conversation, and because we're just getting started. All right. So I'm going to stay on here for just a minute. The floor is absolutely yours. What is coming up? What questions? What landed? Let's chat. And you can, if you're coming on later, you can put stuff in for me, later, and I'll interact with you. And just stay on here for just a few minutes if anybody's got anything. And it really meant something to me today to have this conversation with you, to talk about this path process, to talk about normalizing what you truly dream of, and to have it, to know you can have it. And guess what? You've been asked that Tuesday morning question, and it's not going to go away. Now that you've kind of drank the Kool-Aid, it's work on it this week. Think about it this week. And I'm going to come back on here again live, hit subscribe so you don't miss anything, don't miss any of the conversations. And if you know somebody else who you think needed to hear this today, maybe somebody's really struggling with the Sunday evening thing, or feeling like they, want to figure out what else is in their life, how else to get it, not really clear on the steps, or, how to get there. They know what they want, but don't know how to get there. Please share it with somebody else. And it probably, and more than likely, is one of the most loving things you can do, and a very big favor, a bigger favor than you would even know. All right, well, Sunday evening. You guys got other things to do. I'll see you very soon. I try to do this every day. I would love it if you'd like and subscribe. And like I said, if you've heard something you like, or you know somebody who's struggling with this, dip this Sunday evening, oh, what's my life all about? Please share this. It could help them more than you know. And we'll talk to you soon.